From uncovering the secrets of the universe to revolutionizing medicine and technology, female scientists have shaped the world in ways we often don't even realize. But science isn't just one path, it's a vast landscape filled with different roles, specialties, and ways of thinking. In today's video, we're breaking down every type of female scientist, from physicists and biologists to data scientists, engineers, and beyond. What do they actually do? How are they different? And why does each one matter? Whether you're curious about science, exploring career options, or just love learning how the world works, this is your complete guide to the incredible diversity of women in science. Let's dive in. Marie Curie. She was a pioneering physicist and chemist whose work changed how science understands energy and matter. Born in Poland and later working in France, she discovered the elements polonium and radium, and developed the concept of radioactivity at a time when the field barely existed. Her research required long hours under difficult conditions, often with little protection from the substances she studied. Beyond the lab, her work had real-world impact during World War I, where she helped develop mobile X-ray units to treat wounded soldiers. Her legacy is not only in her 2 Nobel Prizes, but in how she opened doors for women in science and reshaped entire fields of study. Rosalind Franklin. She was a chemist and X-ray crystallographer whose precise and careful work revealed the structure of DNA. Working in London during the 1950s, she produced detailed images that showed DNA's double helix shape, one of the most important discoveries in biology. Her approach was methodical and grounded in evidence, and she remained focused on the science itself rather than recognition. Although her contribution was overlooked for years, her work later became widely acknowledged as essential to understanding how genetic information is stored and passed on. Ada Lovelace. She lived in the 19th century and imagined the future of computing long before machines existed to support it. As the daughter of the poet Lord Byron, she was encouraged to study mathematics, which was unusual for women at the time. Working with Charles Babbage, she wrote what is now considered the first algorithm for a machine. But more importantly, she understood that such machines could go beyond calculation. She saw the possibility of computers creating music, processing symbols, and transforming human thought. Ideas that would not become reality until more than a century later. Jane Goodall. She transformed how scientists study animals by stepping away from distant observation and entering their world. Beginning her work in Tanzania in the 1960s, she spent years living among chimpanzees, learning their behaviors, social structures, and emotions. She discovered that chimpanzees use tools, something once believed to be uniquely human. Over time, her work shifted from research to conservation, as she began advocating for the protection of wildlife and habitats. Her approach brought empathy into science, changing not just what we know, but how we study life. Katherine Johnson. She was a mathematician whose calculations helped guide some of the most important space missions in history. Working at NASA during a time of segregation and limited opportunities for women, she used her deep understanding of mathematics to calculate flight paths, launch windows, and safe returns for astronauts. Her work required both accuracy and trust, as even small errors could have serious consequences. Over time, her contributions became more widely recognized, highlighting the often unseen role of mathematicians in space exploration. Chen-Hsien Wu. She was an experimental physicist whose work challenged long-standing assumptions in science. In the mid-20th century, she conducted an experiment that disproved the idea that nature always behaves symmetrically, a belief that had been accepted for decades. Her findings forced scientists to rethink fundamental laws of physics. Known for her precision and dedication, she played a key role in advancing nuclear physics. Even though recognition for her work did not always match its importance, Barbara McClintock, She was a geneticist who saw patterns in nature that others could not yet understand. Working with maize plants, she discovered that genes can move within chromosomes, a concept now known as transposable elements. At the time, her ideas were considered unusual, and many scientists struggled to accept them. She continued her research quietly, confident in her findings. Years later, her work became central to genetics, earning her a Nobel Prize and reshaping how scientists think about DNA. Dorothy Hodgkin, she was a chemist who used X-ray crystallography to map the structure of complex biological molecules. Her work required patience and precision, as she analyzed patterns to understand substances like penicillin and vitamin B12. These discoveries had direct effects on medicine, helping scientists develop treatments and better understand how drugs interact with the body. Her career showed how detailed, careful research can lead to breakthroughs that affect millions of lives. Mae Jemison, she combined science, medicine, and exploration in a way that reflected a broader vision of what a scientist could be. Trained as a doctor and engineer, she joined NASA and became the first African-American woman to travel into space. Her journey was not only a personal achievement, but also a moment of representation in a field that had long excluded many voices. After leaving NASA, she continued to work in education and global development, showing how science can extend beyond the lab into everyday life. She approached science by blending traditional knowledge with modern methods. Working in China during the 20th century, she studied ancient medical texts to find treatments for malaria. Through careful research, she isolated artemisinin, a compound that became one of the most effective treatments for the disease. Her discovery has saved millions of lives, especially in regions where malaria is most widespread. Her work demonstrates how innovation can come from combining old ideas with new techniques. Lisa Meitner, she was a physicist who played a crucial role in explaining nuclear fission, one of the most important discoveries of the 20th century. Working in Europe during a time of political tension, she was forced to leave her position due to her background. Despite this, she continued her research and helped interpret experimental results that showed how atoms could split and release energy. Her work laid the foundation for both nuclear power and atomic weapons, raising questions about the responsibilities that come with scientific discovery. Rachel Carson, she changed how people understand the relationship between humans and the environment. As a marine biologist and writer, she brought scientific knowledge to a wider audience through her book, Silent Spring. In it, she explained the harmful effects of pesticides on ecosystems, showing how actions in one area can affect life in another. Her work sparked public awareness and led to changes in environmental policy, marking the beginning of a global movement toward conservation. Hypatia, she lived in ancient Alexandria and became one of the earliest known female scholars in mathematics and astronomy. Teaching and writing in a time when education was limited, she represented a commitment to knowledge and reason. Her life took place during a period of cultural and political tension, and her death became symbolic of the challenges faced by those who pursued knowledge in uncertain times. Even centuries later, her story continues to represent the value of learning and intellectual freedom. Emmy Noether, she was a mathematician whose ideas quietly shaped modern physics. Her work connected symmetry with conservation laws, explaining why certain physical properties remain constant. Although she faced barriers in academic institutions, her theories became essential to understanding energy, motion, and the structure of the universe. Her influence is often felt more in equations than in public recognition, yet it remains deeply embedded in scientific thought. Vera Rubin, she was an astronomer who provided strong evidence for the existence of dark matter. By studying how galaxies rotate, she noticed that visible matter could not account for their behavior. Her observations suggested that an unseen mass was influencing the universe. This idea reshaped cosmology and continues to guide research into the nature of the universe. And that brings us to the end of our journey through the incredible world of female scientists. From groundbreaking discoveries to barriers broken, these women didn't just contribute to science, they reshaped it. Their stories remind us that curiosity has no gender, and brilliance knows no limits. Whether it's in physics, biology, chemistry, or beyond, female scientists have always been and continue to be a powerful force driving humanity forward. And the best part, this story is still being written. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.